Hey there, I'm Jamie Russo. I am the CEO of Everything Coworking and the host of a podcast by the same name. And we help operators launch and operate successful co-working spaces. So I'm here today to give you 3 ideas for optimizing your revenue in your co-working space. So this is something you're going to consider if you are already open. If you're not open yet and you're just working on creating a co-working space or just researching, one thing I would say is that creating a co-working space requires a lot of intention and due diligence and planning and market research, because in general, it's a pretty fixed business and it's challenging to change most of the physical aspects of the business. So you need to get the location right. You need to try to get your product mix right. But we're really doing our best and making educated guesses about what the market wants before we open. And we're using our customer feedback and our ideal customer avatars. But still, you may find that some things in real life play out differently than you had expected. So sometimes we're looking for ways to tweak, to shift things that aren't working quite as well as we want them to. So the first idea is related to dedicated desks. So you probably have a mix that might include flex, typical co-working, open plan seating, some dedicated desks, which typically are fixed locations. You get your own desk, same desk every day. You can leave your large monitor. You can put up pictures of your dog. You can, do what you want. It's your reserved seating. And sometimes, and then you probably have offices. So your offices might be full, although we have some ideas for those harder to sell offices, and that's going to be number 3 on our list. So hang in there with us. The dedicated desk. So this is one of the more challenging products because we want to include them as that like mid-range product between flex and offices. But sometimes we do a good job selling them, and sometimes we just cannot drum up the right demand for that product. So sometimes we have more inventory than you would like to have of those dedicated desks. And that is a topic that comes up often. I host a membership for operators. It's kind of a mastermind format called the Everything Coworking Academy. And we do calls once a month. And this is one of the topics that comes up: creative ideas for adjusting things that aren't working really well. So one of our members has a great solution, and I'm going to share my screen for a minute here. She converted some of her dedicated desk area to what she calls office pods. So if you notice the office pods here, you can see there's no drywall, there's no ceiling, no tops, to use a non-technical term, on top of the pod. So there's no sound privacy. You can see the little feet at the bottom of the wall system here. You can see the gap underneath, but these doors lock. And so it feels like an office and you get the sense of privacy, which is awesome. So people tend to really get attracted to that sense of visual privacy and that sense of having your own space and the ability to lock things overnight, not worry about security, et cetera. So this can be a good mid-range product to use if your offices are full and you're looking for a way to get folks to commit to a membership, but they're on the wait list for an office. Or somebody is kind of interested in something beyond a flex membership, not quite ready for an office, and those dedicated desks are just not selling. This is a way to create less inexpensively than building offices. Adding offices is another capital investment. If you're using drywall, it's noisy, dusty, dirty, and requires permits. So this is a furniture solution. This solution happens to be by Vari, V-A-R-I. It looks great. It's a really affordable way to create a sense of an office without creating new offices. There are systems called Falk Built that could function, actually do have tops and do have really high sound ratings. There are other options out there. But this is a really simple approach if you're looking to create sort of a pod effect. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So that's an idea to consider if you're looking for something approachable and affordable. Okay, so let's talk about idea number 2. So idea number 2 is your offices are full and you are looking to maximize revenue, and you have some meeting rooms that are not fully utilized. And it's really important to track your utilization of meeting rooms to know which meeting rooms are getting used most often. Do you need all the meeting rooms that you have? Should you have more 4-person, more 2-person? What's working, what's not working? Because while your space is relatively fixed from a physical perspective, anything inside of 4 walls could be a meeting room or it could be an office. So you can use those interchangeably. And I operated 2 co-working spaces, and we used to do that all the time. We would just kind of adjust with what was happening. If our meeting room revenue and demand was kind of dipping a little bit, but we had folks looking for an office and ours were full, then we could convert a meeting room to an office and get that fixed revenue per month. But you also want to know the reverse might be true, that you'd be better off using an office as a meeting room, depending on your location, your parking, and your marketing. Some folks are doing really well with meeting room rentals today, higher than ever before. But that does require generating that revenue and growing that line of business, does require some intentionality in marketing and lead generation. So if you're not quite there yet, then that may be something you want to work on building. And in the meantime, take the consistent revenue of an office. So the third idea I want to share is, if you have an office that is not selling, maybe it's an interior office, maybe it's a larger office, like a 5-person office, and you've been working it and it's just not going anywhere. You're just kind of stuck with it. One concept, we've talked about this on the podcast, but I still get questions about it all the time. This discussion has recently come up in our Community Manager University program. People are just always trying to figure out, how do we, get to closer to 100% occupancy, in the space. So if you have an office that's just not moving, try making it a shared office. So there's a few different ways that you can do this. And the reason I like this is because there are users who aren't good flex space candidates. Maybe they're on the phone a lot. They want to get out of the house, but they don't want to commit to a full-time office. Maybe they work part-time or, whatever it is. Maybe they know they're not going to use it full-time. So they love the option of an office share. So you can, sort of figure out what works in your market. One way to do it is just to simply sell the office as, say, a 1-person office, or it could be an office for a team. And even though it's a little bigger than is appropriate for that use case, if you can oversell it, then you're getting closer to market rate for that office. So you might sell buckets of hours, for example. I love that model the best. So you sell, 16 hours a week or 24 hours a week, kind of increments of 4 tend to work so that people can book in half days. You might require a minimum of a half day booking so that it's being used either in the morning or in the afternoon by someone. And you can oversell because folks typically aren't going to use their allocation every week. And so you might get close to what market rate is, even though it's a big office that you're using for buckets of hours. And this is different than a day office, because a day office is really designed to be rented by the day. But this is somebody's membership. So they're committing to a certain number of buckets of hours, and those hours don't roll over. They renew every single month. There's a lot of folks having a lot of success with this. I love this product. It's the exact product that I would want to have. You could also certainly make it an actual office share. I have friends who are not in the co-working industry who share an enclosed office that's smaller. So it's not a giant room of enclosed dedicated desks, but it's a smaller office. And they say, you know what? I don't mind sharing an office with somebody. I can pop into a phone booth when I want to make a phone call, or I know the other people generally aren't there, Thursday and Friday. So it's all mine on Thursday and Friday. So you could try that approach as well. You might have to experiment for a little bit and see what resonates with folks when they tour. And that's just the mindset I would really encourage you to have, is try it. It might work for you. It might not work for you. I always like to try things for a minimum of 3 months, because it's really hard to know if you only try something for a month or a few weeks. Is it a seasonality issue? Is it you just haven't given it enough time to really see, is there demand for this? Is this going to work? So those are my 3 ideas. So one is dedicated desks, shift them into office pods, and increase the price on that product and get the ROI on the office systems. The second is, if you have a meeting room that's underutilized, but you have a lot of demand for offices, convert that room to an office. You can always convert it back. And the third idea is to make an office that's hard to sell a shared office, sell buckets of hours at a lower rate that makes it more accessible for people who are kind of in the middle. So I'd love to hear in the comments if you've tried any of these things that have been successful. And if it's interesting to kind of hash through these options, we have lots more ideas. Consider joining our Everything Coworking Academy, which is our operator membership for operators who are open and launched and looking to optimize their business and learn from others and learn from experts throughout their journey.